Get ready for Tuesdays with Tiffany Lewis. Tune in at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time to Be the Change. Only on Clear Source Radio, where we inspire people soul to soul. Only on Clear Source Radio.
Hey guys. Hi everyone. Welcome. It's Tuesday and you are listening to Be the Change with Tiffany Lewis, live right here on Clear Source Radio, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. How's everyone doing? I hope you are doing good. And I'm sorry I didn't get to speak to you live last week. We have had so much stuff going on here, going on in the world, going on in the United States, going on internationally. And yes, I'm talking about storms. So tonight, I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you a story. And I'm going to warn you up front that in the middle of the story, I'm going to have to stop, go to a commercial break, and then come back on live. I'm also going to take this opportunity to tell you that in tonight's episode, you're going to hear me say Franklin, Virginia, several times over. And my apologies for that. I obviously meant Franklin, Texas, not Franklin, Virginia. So here we go. Because my studio equipment has been failing me for the last 2 hours of my life. So I don't even know if this is going to play or come through, but let's just hope it does. And let's do this. All right. So about a year ago, probably less, myself and my sister and my best friend, Amanda Tucker, we decided that we were going to watch the solar eclipse. Now, this particular solar eclipse was one of those really, really, really rare ones that only happens like once in a bajillion years or whatever. And so we were trying to figure out how we could watch the solar eclipse safely without hurting our eyes. Because you know you can't look right at the sun, and you definitely can't look right at the sun during a solar eclipse to watch it. So we made these little viewers. We took cereal boxes. So just imagine like a Raisin Bran box, okay? You open the top of it, like open the top lid, take everything out of the cereal box, and way down at the bottom of the box, I'm sorry I'm laughing, this is just ridiculous. Actually, I believe you cut the box in half. So you want the box to be the size of like those animal cracker little square boxes that are like 4 inches tall on each side and 5 or 6 inches long at maximum, like binoculars, right? And so that's the idea. So you cut this box in half and you tape aluminum foil to the bottom of it. And then you have to take the very top lid, or really you have to kind of hand make your own cutout cardboard top to put on it and tape that guy all the way around it too. So we're looking at a cereal box that's been cut in half, aluminum foil on the bottom, taped down, and now we're going to cut another piece out and put it on the top and tape that to the box. Now, this is the fun part. So you take a pair of scissors and you make 2 holes, one for each eye. Okay, so 2 viewing holes are cut out, 2 small circles. Then to the left of that, you're going to make a pinhole, right? So we did this. We spent hours upon hours talking about this. We spoke of it days and weeks before, and we were determined that we were going to do this together. So we were able to beautifully enjoy all 4 to 6 hours of that eclipse. And we watched it together, and now we were in 2 different time zones, so it was kind of hilarious because I got to see the end of it before she did. Like, I know that sounds odd, but it was hilarious. And we got our little cereal boxes and we're watching this eclipse, and you know, something comes over me at that time. right at that moment, somewhere during or very soon thereafter. And I feel a gravitational pull, an energetic change, the winds of change. I mean, I feel a universal change, a shift, a gravitation. And I knew at that moment that literally everything and life as I knew it was over. It was different. It would never be the same again. It's a true story. And so for the first few events in life, major events that were happening around the world, you know, hurricanes, tornadoes, volcanoes, global warming, I could name 100 things. I'd be like, yeah, it's all since that solar eclipse. I swear, ever since that day, everything has been different. Right on down to a personal level. It's people started acting differently, kind of like they do when there's a full moon, how people start to kind of act differently, or maybe how animals react right before it's about to storm, how they just change their personality. And it wasn't even subtle changes. It was humongous changes in the world, on the internet, just everything changed and you could literally feel it. Now, maybe that's because I'm a sensitive or an empath, however you'd like to word that. I don't know. But I felt it happen, and I have felt it every single day of my life thereafter. And it's been about a year now, I think. But anyway, the reason for that story was because everything that's going on in the world right now, I've always blamed it on that solar eclipse. Because that day, everything changed. And I have a small group of friends online who are psychics or empaths or sensitives or indigos or, you know, whatever they may be, clairvoyance, all kinds of things. And in our small community, we all, you know, at different times without speaking to each other, came to the conclusion that we all felt it too. You can literally feel the presence of, I hate to keep being cheesy and saying the winds of change, but how about we call it the age of the Aquarius, or the what in the world happened since that solar eclipse? What did it bring with it that changed all of our lives so drastically in the last year? And I'm such a different person now. So is everyone I know. Friends have come and gone. Everybody seems to be battling some personal battles. We've got a nation in distress, a nation torn apart by hurricanes. And yes, I understand it's hurricane season, but this year is extraordinary. So we've had Irma, Hurricane Florence in North Carolina, Hurricane Michael in Florida, and we now have Hurricane Willa that's actually supposed to be touching down this evening or tomorrow in Mexico and then making its way up to Texas. So we're all in preparation / disaster mode. And in the last week, and by the way, I'm going to go all over the map. I don't really have a point except for I blame everything on the solar eclipse, because since that day, everything has changed permanently. And again, we could call that the age of the Aquarius, because I am an Aquarian and I know that we're hell on wheels. So if it's the age of the Aquarians and we're here to, if we're responsible for these changes in the world, it totally makes sense to me. I'm not happy about it, but you've noticed, I'm sure, if you get online, that people are more bold than ever, more rude than ever, more, I can't even say the word that I want to say because this is a family-friendly radio station. People just have some kind of nerve, and it's become progressively worse over the last few years. But I swear it has become 100 times worse since that solar eclipse, or since the age of the Aquarius began, which was right around the same time, not too far apart from each other. And so let me just tell you another story. Doesn't have anything to do with that really, but then again, I still blame it on the solar eclipse. So, the other day, last week, it's Tuesday, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, my phone starts ringing. And just as a heads up, I'm going to be giving tons of shout outs to everybody who's been involved in the last 2 weeks of my life, because I have a whole large crew of volunteers, wonderful, amazing people, and each one of you will get a shout out at some point during this show tonight when I get to what part of our story is and how it plays into this entire tonight's episode. So a week ago, Rodney from North Carolina calls me, one of our volunteers. He's in the military. That's all I can say about that. Calls me at 6 o'clock in the morning, wakes me up, sends me a Facebook Live video. And for those of you that don't know, I hate Facebook Live videos. I'm going to go there for a minute. The reason why I hate Facebook Live videos is because Facebook Live videos are the reason why I began and opened and started my 501c3 nonprofit called PFPO, Pens for Pals organization. It was because young children were getting on Facebook Live and then taking their own life by the hand of suicide and blasting it live on Facebook. And the video would last beyond their death and all the way until either the phone died or somebody came. And I don't want to talk about all that. It's not okay to talk about it. I know that we live in a world where I'm always like, talk about it, let's talk about it. But I don't want to talk about it in a way where it seems like I'm glorifying anything. It is the most horrific thing I've ever seen. I have hated Facebook ever since. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you another reason why I hate Facebook. But that's besides the point. These are little children that were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years old, literally taking their own lives by the hand of suicide on Facebook Live. It was a thing. Or at least they thought it was a thing, or tried to make it a thing, like an okay thing, a common thing. And I will give Facebook some credit for the fact that I think that they have made sure that issue isn't, you can't control someone's Facebook Live, but I'm sure there are things put in place, measurements, precautions put into place, people reporting things fast enough that could cut that video off before people are exposed to it. And by people, I mean sensitive people, I mean children, I mean suicidal people, I mean anybody dealing with any kind of mental illness or even just the slightest bit of depression. Don't watch those videos, please. And people send me these videos, and those aren't the only kind of videos that they send me. They also send me videos about, this is, Daniel, for instance. Daniel is 16, and for his 16th birthday, all he wants is a birthday card. He has terminal cancer, and he's not expected to live to see his 16th birthday. So then myself and all of my friends and families, and now this very large group of volunteers, internationally as well as nationally, we all see those posts that friends send to me, and we all send cards. And I'm known to send a couple hundred cards at a time. You may remember me telling you the story of that exact young man, but his name was actually Aaron. And I didn't have any more birthday cards, and I had a huge stack that were donated to me, like Christmas cards and specifically Halloween cards, hundreds of them. And I have pictures on Facebook, and anyway, I just scratched out Happy Halloween or the Halloween part and put birthday. And we sent, between myself and my friends and my family and all of our volunteers worldwide, we probably sent him, I don't know, 1,500 cards. And my only condition was, do not put a return address on it, because I like the idea of us here at Pens for Pals, when we're sending a gift to somebody or trying to help them get through a difficult situation, I don't want them to know who we are. We're like, I'm not going to call us an undercover hero. I'm just saying we are the behind the scenes one that's going to send you love and hope and hugs and don't want credit for it. So I'm going to stop right there and go back to my regular story. So I get woke up. It's 6 o'clock in the morning and I see this Facebook Live video and it says, okay, first off, before I tell you what it says, it's a lady with a jacket on. It's raining. And behind her is a bridge that it appears to have a tsunami going on right behind her, and a bunch of onlookers, EMS, fire, police, etc. Right? And behind her is a very large 41-foot ginormous wave, like an ocean, in Texas. I later found out that was in Llano, Texas, which was 60 miles north of where I was. And if water travels south, that meant it was 60 miles away from me, traveling at God only knows how fast of a speed. So Rodney sends me this video, and all the video says is, this is a bridge somewhere near Austin. And, oh Lord. Okay, Austin's the number one city to live in. We get like 187 people that move here every day. I mean, a bridge near Austin is not helpful. We are surrounded by bridges. This is the most bridge-happy city I've seen outside of Houston and Dallas, seriously. Anyway, so he wakes me up, see the video, and lo and behold, on the video, you've got all these people all over the world, because again, it is Facebook Live and you cannot control anything that is said. People are joking. People are laughing at this poor girl. She starts breaking down, crying at some point. We're watching like boats float away, houses float away, roofs float away. And I don't mean floating. Let me give you a visual. This is a 41-foot tidal tsunami kind of wave coming out of nowhere. It just grew and grew and just happened overnight. We never got any alarms, any alerts. Nobody notified us. If it wasn't for Rodney, I don't know that I'd still be alive right now, but we'll come back to that. And Rodney is he's actually our main volunteer in North Carolina, helping us with disaster relief and our upcoming toy drive in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So shout out to Rodney Sanchez. And anyways, so the comments obviously start to pour in on this live video. People are laughing at her, and by her I mean the only news lady who's just doing her job. You've got a cameraman, a news lady. They're obviously in a splash zone. They're getting wet. They're getting poured and rained on. And right behind them is a bridge with a 41-foot wave of water gushing over, under, and around it. All right, so sometime in the next couple of hours, a storm surge happens. And I really didn't know what this word meant till the other day, so I'm going to explain it to you. So this body of water that is 41 feet high, just imagine a tsunami, a storm surge comes in and it shoots forward a second body of water, a second wave that actually made that first 41-foot wave 11 feet higher. So the storm surged it 11 feet higher, which brings it to 52 feet tall. And no, I'm not kidding. Turned out that bridge was, like I said, in Llano, Texas. And they've opened a couple of dams in a couple of different directions. All the water is contaminated within like a 200-mile radius. We had Hurricane Michael happen in Florida. It devastated Florida. We've got volunteers and boots on the ground this all happened basically in the same week. So that was last Tuesday. I believe Hurricane Michael happened just the week prior to that. The grand total number of days since both of those disasters has been about 11 days today, I do believe, maybe 12. The days are all running together, and we can all tell you that and vouch for that. But so, I tried very hard not to get involved in Hurricane Michael or Hurricane Florence, but we all know I'm a storm chaser, and we all know I'm all about long-term recovery, disaster relief, saving lives more than anything else. Okay, I know I can't save the world, but I can help. So people started signing up on this platform that I use, where you seek out volunteers all over the world. And specifically in this case, this was a nationwide reach out. And I had so many volunteers come to me so quickly and say, I'm headed from one storm to another. So basically from Hurricane Florence in North Carolina to Hurricane Michael in Florida. And even further than that, people from the hurricane in Florida coming to Texas because of what they're now calling the Llano Bridge. What are they calling it? Llano Bridge water rise flood incident, something really stupid like that. But I want to tell you a lot of history about that, but I need to bounce around for a minute, because this is my opportunity to give a few shout outs since we're talking about the storm in Florida right now. So I've got Rodney Sanchez and U-Haul in North Carolina, who both I can't wait to give them both a really large hug one day and thank them so much for their service, all of their team that they've assembled, everything they're doing, everything they're going to do. We are already looking into Christmas and adopting families. And by the way, if you live in North Carolina, anywhere near the Fayetteville area, we will be providing trees, meals, everything. We've been collecting toys since August, since any of these hurricanes actually happened. That's just something that we do every year. So in order to nominate yourself, your family, your neighbor's family, I don't care who you nominate, just come on, nominate people and let us adopt you and take care of you and give you the best Christmas you've ever had in your life. So here's how you go about that. So PFPO North Carolina is one way, and that's on Facebook. PFPO Panama City Beach Hurricane Michael, that's the second Facebook page. The third page and the original page is PFPO Pens for Pals Organization. Any one of those pages or the website www.pensforpals.org, and that's pensforpals.org. I will also put all of that information in the description of this video before I blast it onto iHeart, and in the event that I am able to get this show out there on the internet tonight, I will. But either way, it'll be tagged in it, and you'll see all the fundraisers online and everything like that. So fast forward, our friends in North Carolina and our very hardworking volunteers, they came up to Florida, to the Panama City Beach area. And there are more volunteers there than I even know how to count at this point. I can say that we are a very strong team of 30 to 50 people all together in 3 different states, dealing with 3 going on 4 different disasters right now. And I'm only going to name drop first names, so hopefully I don't upset anybody or offend anybody, but here it is. Shanda, thank you. Aaron, thank you. Mac, thank you. Angela, thank you. April, thank you. Ronnie, thank you. I hope I didn't forget anybody there. Those are our main logistics and volunteers and our boots on the ground and the people that are making such an amazing, wonderful, they're creating villages is what I'm trying to say. We're taking a city or a number of cities and a number of counties that have been completely devastated. There's nothing left. The trees are down everywhere. We need chainsaws. We need generators. We need porta potties. We need stuff. We need food. We need obviously a lot of stuff. So another reason why you're going to see all these online fundraisers. There's GoFundMe pages. There are Facebook fundraisers, and there are fundraisers on multiple other platforms trying to raise money for this specific team. This is Team Pens for Pals, Hurricane Michael, or Team Pens for Pals, Florida, because they're not just in Panama City Beach. And I'm not going to reveal any locations, but I am going to say that we are making the biggest impact on the communities that are still needing to be searched and rescued. We have drones. We have excellent logistics, and just an amazing group of people. And I think we're all tired, burnt out, worn out, exhausted, but none of us are giving up. You run on this kind of an adrenaline, and you don't sleep, and you forget to eat. You're just so, you realize there's people stuck somewhere on a tree limb who've been there for 11 or 12 days. And the only way we're going to find them is probably by drone at this point. These are not areas that you can just go into or drive up to. It's all damaged. It's all collapsed. It's all gone. So our prayers and hearts and all of our thoughts and donations are going to Hurricane Michael, families, survivors, victims, however you'd like to word that. I'm going to call them survivors, and to our relief efforts. So guys, if you have $1, $5, $10, I'm only going to say this once, go on to the Facebook page, Pens for Pals organization, look for the fundraiser, type it in, Google PFPO, Pens for Pals organization, fundraiser, donate. Okay, you can donate to anybody you want, and you don't have to donate to us, but with us, you know where your money is going. And we are happy to share those stories with you publicly. Go ahead and like that page, PFPO, Panama City Beach, Hurricane Michael. Super easy to find. There aren't that many users on it yet because I just created the page the day before yesterday. But you're going to see some of the impact stories, and it's going to break your heart and make you cry. But soon you'll be crying in a good way because we're helping so many people. We've rescued animals. We've finally secured a location or two. We've finally secured feed and water for these animals that have been rescued, which at this point, just in one location, there's a farm that a lady has rescued 2 horses, a colt, which is like a miniature horse of some sort, and 8 dogs. 5 are left, and the other 3 actually went to forever homes. So do you see how much good they're doing? Because I hope you do. They are doing so much good in the world, and I am so proud of them. And that is my humongous shout out right now, as it stands right now, even in all the uncertainty of when we will get donations, if we will get donations, how long do we have to wait for donations? We don't want anybody to starve. The point is, we set up an area, we create a village, and everybody comes together in the same large space or county. Let's just say we set up a village for a 5-county, radius, and we've got a large space. Everybody's got their tents. Everybody is pitching in a couple dollars a day or $1 a day for fuel or gasoline to keep the generators running to be able to continue to cook for these people. We make connections with places like Operation Barbecue, Tyson Chicken, Walmart. A lot of people are actually super, super helpful. And we're looking for more food donations for anybody listening who has a connection that can get us food, generators, And fuel. Fuel is a big thing. Fuel is always a big thing, because even if we are able to secure supplies and go pick them up in the trucks that we have full use of, obviously gasoline has to go into them. And before I go to a commercial break, I want to throw this in. If anybody on here is listening and saying, you know what, I want to be a part of that. I want to go to North Carolina. I want to go to Florida. I want to go to Texas, and I want to help do search and rescue or relief, recovery, sustainability, or help build these literal villages of entire communities coming together, living together. And that would be like in tents and on air mattresses in a secured location, a very secured number of locations throughout Florida in the affected areas. Just know that if you are going to go out there and be a volunteer, you need to get with a good team, and you need to know up front that just because some of us have 501c3 nonprofits, we're all volunteers. It's nonprofit. We don't make any profit off of this. So everything that we get is strictly donation based. Where does your money go? It goes to put more fuel in the vehicles, to drop the donations off to the people that can't leave their area. It goes to, a couple more drones. It goes to satellite phones. It goes to two-way radios. It goes to food. It goes to clothing. It goes to portable showers, porter potties, and that is a short list. I mean, that's 5 out of 400 resources that we need. We haven't even gone into hygiene or anything like that. So our big thing right now is fuel, gas cards. Please send those to me. My email is pensforpals@icloud.com. I will also attach that into the link on iHeart and on Facebook when I do post this show. So that's pensforpals@icloud.com. You know my name is Tiffany, so please reach out. Super easy to find. Just Google Pens for Pals. You'll find our website. You'll find the email. It'll come straight to me. And if you want to donate or volunteer, you can do that just by reaching out. Just please keep an open mind to the fact that we are not going to be able to afford to pay for you to go somewhere, or for luxurious items or hotel accommodations. It's rough. Everybody is living, basically in a tent at this point, and they're all gathered, taking care of each other in several different cities, counties, and communities, but we're building little villages. And by little, I mean several hundred people a day that we're feeding 3 times a day, with the help of Operation Barbecue and just some good, amazing folks who are just doing this out of the kindness of their heart. But we have kind of reached our limit as far as resources go. There's a lot of people out there that are not legitimate nonprofits who are, selling t-shirts and making a ton of money and then using it not wisely. I bought the lady in line in front of me, I bought her groceries. Okay, well, that's great and stuff that she has a home and you bought her groceries. But me personally, I would have used that $300 to, buy a few more tents and more fuel to feed more people. Not just one family, but the whole village as a whole. So that's why I'm asking my villages, if we help build your villages, or you have a village, whether we had any part in it or not, everybody in the village needs to be donating at least $1 a day to be able to be self-sufficient and to keep, self-sustaining, wonderful operations. That's how we're going to get through this, guys. You've got our team. You've got so many teams, so many volunteers, and now we're creating large villages, and we're strong together. We're very strong together. We will rise above this, and we will help you as much as we possibly can to get the right foundation, get you set up, get you situated, create this village with you, and live in this village with you until we're fully self-sufficient and self-sustaining in each village. But that takes at least $1 a day from every one person who lives in the village. So enough about that. I'm not going to ask for any more donations or money on this show. That's not what this show's about. I was just making you aware of the situation in Florida. So back to Texas. So the Llano Bridge, which is, I think I've already said this, it was 60 miles north of me heading my way. And I didn't know how much time I had to get there. So I basically got in my car with strong advice from people that I trust with my life, and get in a car, pack up, go. Drove to a little town called Franklin, Virginia. And Franklin, Virginia had a hotel. And then just a couple feet outside of the front door of the hotel, there's this one bar, restaurant, barber shop, laundromat, all in one. Like everything, like anything that you think about Texas. I assure you, the pictures that I took there will make you feel like that's how everything in Texas is. But that was a nice little getaway in Franklin. We were 450 feet above, elevated above ground level, water, everything like that. We were safe. I've returned back to Austin. The water is contaminated in every direction possible. And, we're hanging in here, and we're getting ready for Hurricane Willa to come crashing down on us tonight or tomorrow. So for those of you who don't know about Hurricane Willa, it's coming out of Mexico and off of the Gulf of Mexico. And we expect it to be another ironic tsunami type thing. Not like the rivers are, not because it keeps raining, and not because the rivers are overflowing because it keeps raining, but because they won't open the dams. It is collapsing bridges. It's collapsing the bridges that contain the dams, the same dams that were built to prevent disasters like this from ever affecting Austin again, aka the Mansfield Dam or Mansfield Bridge, however you'd like to term that. So that was built in the 1930s specifically, which was the last time Austin was flooded to this extent and basically almost wiped out. You can find footage and videos of that on, just by doing a quick Google search and see how devastating that was. So that's when Mansfield Bridge was actually built and what it was built for. It has 8 dams. We were told they were going to open 1 dam an hour. This was a week ago. Until all 8 dams were open, and that it was the first time basically in history that all 8 dams would be open. So here we are a week later, 4 dams are open. Hurricane Willa is coming from Mexico, the Gulf, up to Texas, like the coastal part of Texas. So I'm about to run out of time. I'm going to have to go to a commercial break, and then I'll be right back. But before that quick commercial break, I want you to visualize this. There are 3 main rivers or lakes, not counting the Mansfield Bridge with the dams. And all of them run parallel to each other for reference, basically from Austin, obviously further than that, but from Austin, flowing south, and all literally dropping it off at the Gulf in the Houston area into the Gulf. So what you've got is you've got a 41-foot plus an 11-foot surge. So you've got a 52-foot surge that started churning all this water on all these rivers that are usually docile and placid. And, we've had a drought for 4 years, so there's no waves. We don't live in an ocean area. We don't even really live in a flood area, but we are now. Anyway, all those rivers are flowing downstream, right? Because nature says that river flows south. But the problem with this water is that because it is collapsing bridges and dams, the water is, and the dams aren't being opened, the water is crashing into the bridges and the dams, and it's just creating this intense force of water that seems to be coming up from right up underneath the ground to the top. And I know that doesn't make any sense, but I have some excellent footage of it. I check the water levels almost every day. The nearest one to me is 2 blocks behind my house. Anyway, all 4 of those bodies of water are going to drop off into the Gulf of Mexico. Hypothetically, that they're all flowing south towards the Houston Gulf of Mexico area. Then you've got Hurricane Willow over here facing. So Hurricane Willow is going to come up through Mexico, and it's going to collide with that Gulf of Mexico at the Texas border head on from a different direction. Okay? So that water is going to be flowing, just for visualization. I know this is not technically true, but let's just say Willow comes up, goes through Mexico, and brings another storm surge, another water surge, and brings 50 foot tall tsunami-like waves to the Gulf of Mexico on Texas, on the Texas side of that. And then on the same day or the next day, you've got all these rivers flowing downstream to the Gulf of Mexico that are supposedly all going south. So you've got a northbound large tsunami-like wave and a southbound, and they are going to literally face off, bump heads, and crash into each other at completely opposite directions, right? So that's going to happen tomorrow or the next day. That's all I can say about that right now. With certainty is, at the very least, those 2 large, I'm going to continue to call them tsunamis until somebody gives me a better name. We can't just keep calling this the Llano Bridge River flooding thing. We need a better name. So whatever they are, hurricanes, whatever we call them, that's what they are. But that's what's going to happen. And when that happens, we're going to have a whole other disaster out here. So now's the time where I thank my volunteers here in Texas. And I didn't mean to say I'm sorry. I have a bad habit of saying because I have been working on trying to get my microphone and my stereo to work and my studio to work for God knows 2 to 3 hours now. And I am frustrated with that. But I didn't mean I mean we. We are a collective we. We are a large international and national collective we. We are Pens for Pals. We are search and rescue, first responders, fire, EMS, doctors, nurses, everything. We are we. We are awesome. We are awesome teams of awesome people who are very well prepared for what's going to happen here with Hurricane Willow. So, all that said, I'm going to ask you guys to bear with me for a very short commercial break.
Are you or a loved one feeling suicidal, depressed, or suffering alone in silence? Do you feel like no one will listen to you or help you? Let us help you get the support you deserve today. Help is just a click away. Visit www.pensforpals.org. Don't suffer anymore.
All right. Thank you guys for bearing with me as I'm having technical issues. But hey, on a positive note, once again, I want to thank all of our volunteers. We're going to have an amazing toy drive. I know there are more hurricanes coming. The hurricane season doesn't end until November 30th. And now you know I'm going to drop some random useful knowledge on you. I like to end my shows this way. So, in 1953, the National Weather Service picked up on the habit of the naval meteorologist naming the storms after women because they were commonly named after men, right? And then they wanted to kind of even it out. So hurricane names are chosen from a list selected by the I can't even speak, I've lost my voice. Meteorological Organization. I'm sorry. And this article is super old, but I don't care. All right, so there are 6 separate lists of names just for the Atlantic Ocean storms, with one list used each year. So, in 1979, male names were added to alternate with the female names. The 6 lists used for storms in the Atlantic rotate annually. The list of the year's names will not be reused until 2011. So I think it just said that was in 2006. 2007. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, from 2006 till 2011, they're not allowed to reuse the names of the hurricane. And I'm pretty sure that you already know that hurricanes are named in alphabetical order. But I thought I'd give you a little bit of info on what some of the names were and how they get their names. So back in 2006, here's a list of some of the names just from the East Coast. And sorry, please forgive me. As usual, I'm always losing my voice. All right, Beryl, Chris, Debbie, Ernesto, Florence, Gordon, Helene, Isaac, Joyce, Kirk, Michael, Sandy, Tony, Valerie, William. Okay, do those names sound familiar? Because here we are in 2018. So in 2011, the East Coast hurricanes were given these names plus several more. And then 6 years later, or maybe 7 in this case, 2011 to 2018, you're hearing some of these names repeated, such as Florence, Helene, Michael, and that's all that I've heard so far. And there's a lot more information that I could find for you on that, but we are short on time this evening, so I just thought I'd throw in some random information like I usually do, because I personally like to, share random facts. So there's a list of male and female names which are used in 6-year rotation. So every 6 years they get to use them, and they try to do them, like one's a female and one's another. Okay, so Daniel, Amelia, Fabio, Gilma, Hector, Lena. Okay, you get the idea. Anyway, and that's just the East Coast. So on a national and international level, you have to know that it starts off as a tropical storm and then it has to develop into a hurricane, and then it gets named in rotation every 6 years. Some of the same names are used. But I also know for a fact that I don't have it off the top of my head, and I don't have the entire list right in front of me, but new storms that are not on the East Coast, obviously they have a separate list, and there is this entire process that they go through just to name a hurricane. Okay, and I actually am looking at the list of hurricane storm names from 2016 to 2021, so I can tell you what every single storm is going to be called until 2021. If I can find this in alphabetical order, yeah, that's a pretty interesting list. I advise you to check into that if you get bored. But all right, guys, the most important thing, couple things, is I can't stress enough how much I appreciate everyone coming together in the nation, all of our volunteers coming together, working together. I cannot stress enough how much we need your help. If you'd like to help, you can help in a million different ways. You can come volunteer in Florida, come volunteer in North Carolina, come volunteer in Texas, or come volunteer in any state in which there's a disaster. Because our thing is that, a disaster happens every day in our own backyard. right? It doesn't have to be a hurricane, doesn't have to be a natural disaster. The idea is to constantly be forming villages and communities that, I mean, my hope for one day is to have self-sustaining communities and villages. But my opinion aside, if we all come together as a whole and we remain as one unit without separating people based on whatever, or even location, you guys are going to wake up and realize one day that you are all in the same nation. We're all in the United States over here. And then internationally, okay, so they're all international and we're all national. And one day, I'm hoping that we can merge the two in a beautiful way. But for now, in this nation, in the United States of America, why are we fighting with each other? Why are we trolling each other on the internet? Why are we so quick to judge, to hurt people, to break people's hearts, to destroy, nature and the earth? And why are we so cruel? And again, I blame this on the solar eclipse that happened about a year ago. It changed something. Like I said in the very beginning of this show, it has now come full circle, and I hope that you're starting to see my point even throughout the few little glitches here and there throughout the show. This show will be put on iHeartRadio in the next hour of my life. I will edit out the part where I coughed. But, that's not important. What's important is that we all work together. You've got to have people in your life that you love and that you trust with your life. You can choose your friends, guys. You can choose who you associate with. So if you have limited choices in life and you have an entire nation of people to choose from, and you've got all these people over here being ugly and being mean and being hurtful and hurting others, the bullies, the competitive top dog, top alpha type, do you want to associate with that? I mean, you need to sit down and have a long conversation with yourself, like quietly in your head. I would also suggest meditating. I'm not going to bring religion into this. I'm just going to say that we get to choose who is in our life. And those who are in our lives are in our lives because we've attracted them to our lives. This is basic. This is the law of attraction. You put out into the world what it is that you want to attract, and you focus on that, and you study that, and you think about it from every aspect, and you completely immerse yourself in that, even if it's on a subconscious level. Once you put it out there to the universe, buyer beware, that will come back to you. So if you think a negative thought about somebody or think about hurting somebody, you better believe that's going to come right back to you, and probably 3 to 10-fold. But if you're a good person doing good things with a pure heart and a lovely soul, and if you carry yourself right and you do every single thing that you do as if you are not promised tomorrow, as if your good stewardship, your loyalty, your heart and your soul and your eternal destination and your legacy are more important to you than your ego, than your image, than what anybody thinks of you. Like, once you get there, you will begin the awakening process, and you'll realize how silly it is to be self-conscious about anything whatsoever, and how harsh people are, but how you can just keep them out of your life by not allowing it in. And look, we all get trolled online, so I, in general, avoid online. I avoid Facebook like a plague. When I do get on there, it seems like I mean, gosh, I was trolled yesterday over something that was really important and it wasn't funny. And somebody messed with me for like 8 hours. But that's the world that we live in. That's what I mean when I said that change. Everybody just went from sort of kindly and gently putting feelers out there back in the MySpace day. Put little feelers out there like, oh, well, that's a cool pic. You know, today in the world that we live in, nobody asks your permission to tell you, and they don't say it respectfully, but nobody asks your permission to say, you know, is it okay if I say, you know, that you look beautiful, and I mean that in a I have to choose my words carefully, but in a pure way. Like, you're a beautiful person, you're a beautiful soul. It's got nothing to do with looks. It's got nothing to do with body. It's got nothing to do with body shaming, all these categories that we've created, all of these identities that we've created. Guys, we're all one. We're all human. None of us are invincible. We all bleed the same color of blood, quite literally. And at any given day or time or minute in life, any one of us, all of us, or some of us could lose our life, lose somebody close to us. And I hate for you guys to learn lessons the hard way. So if you just live each day as if you are not promised tomorrow, because you are not. I assure you, you are not. I know I preach this one all the time. You could literally walk outside your house and just get hit by a car, a truck, a whatever, and that's it. So what's important is, what is that dash? It's not important who shows up at your funeral. It's important, what is the dash? This is the date you were born. There's a dash. There's the date that your life will expire. How full did you live it? What did you put in that dash? Because I sure hope that you did everything in your power to leave your mark so that you are remembered for bajillions of years. And I honestly hope that you go down in history for the things that you do, that because you're such an incredible person, you are making so many fantastic changes and you are changing the world. And you know, if you're one of those people, come on over to this team right here. And even though I just said there doesn't need to be teams, look, there's two types of people. There's the type that want to change the world or save the world or help change it in some way and help as many people as they can along the way. And then there's your, and I hate to name call because I'm not really petty, but you know, your trolls, your people who have way too much time in their hand. I'll stop right there. But listen, I love you guys. None of us are guaranteed that we will get sleep tonight, because a lot of people right now are homeless because their lives and their homes and their families have been torn apart, devastated. I expect to report back to you next week with a whole other level of devastation from another state, if not 2 more hurricanes. But you know, right now we need to be there for each other. We need to depend on each other. Look at the person next to you and hug them. I know that that's considered weird in certain states, especially along the East Coast, because I grew up there and then I moved to Texas and I was like, ew, don't hug me. But you know what? If you ever meet me in person, I assure you, with open arms, I will hug and embrace you. And I am fully sincere and I mean it from the bottom of my soul. I would give anybody anything if I had it to give, even if it put me out. So that said, thank you guys for tuning in. Please be aware of your surroundings. Be grateful for everything that you have instead of complaining about what you don't have, because you still have your life. You were given another day. Every day that you wake up and you actually wake up and you're alive, you better thank whoever for that. Okay? That's it. I love you guys. And I will be on again on this Friday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time with Decoding the Unknown, which is a completely different show than this. And if you like learning things and you like intelligence, You'll love that show. So come on over here and tune in. Same deal. ClearSourceRadio.com has how you can listen to it live. Download the app. Look for the Facebook page, PFPO North Carolina, PFPO Panama City Beach, and Pens for Pals Organization, or PFPO Pens for Pals Organization. www.pensforpals.org, pensforpals.org. And I'll try to post as much as that in the links. I'm sorry, I'm talking really fast. We are out of time, like 2 minutes ago out of time. But anyway, you guys have a good night. I love you. And tune in next Tuesday. And feel free to tune in on Friday. Good night.
Are you ready to be inspired? Are you ready to make positive changes in your life? Tune in to Be the Change, live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, featuring our heartwarming radio host, Tiffany Lewis. She's an empath, an indigo, and has a new and uplifting message for you every week. Tiffany can be heard only on Clear Source Radio, where people inspire people, from our soul to yours. You can get the free app today at clearsourceradio.com. Visit Tiffany H. Lewis on Facebook for even more daily inspiration.